Okay, so let's take a look at how you can create Azure database for MariaDB server. And once that instance is created, we will connect that to Azure Data Studio. So first thing, we will open Azure portal. Then in services, we will find databases, where we have Azure database for MariaDB server. Now when you go there, it will be initially empty, right? Then you will click on create. Now here you can see the details for this instance. It will ask you to set up subscription, so I have only free trial for now. Later when I upgrade to pay as you go, it will be displayed here. Then you have resource group, pick that. Then you also have details for server, add your names for that server, choose whether you want backup or not, then location, then version. Finally you will have to select the storage type. You will also be able to see the cost here, right? So pick the right tier for yourself, choose basic for simple work, right? Then here you will see the price will be down, right? You can reduce the core and storage size as well. Can remove the auto growth part, keep the things to locally redundant if you are just testing it. If you want backup redundancy, you can select your redundant, then apply, right? And it will be listed here. Then you create your username, password, and once you do that, simply hit review and create. This will go in a process. And this will create an instance which will be your MariaDB instance, right? Where you can see that you will be utilizing some amount of resources that would be visible here, right? And you will be getting your own login name, server name. Along with that, you have to set few things up, right? Which is connection security. Here you have to allow all the Azure services to log in. Also, you have to allow your IP to be selected. Simply add IP, then I add the range of IPs, right? Then enable the SSL, set the TLS version. So I didn't set that up for now, but if you happen to choose that option, you can do so. Then save the settings. Now once you are done with all of this, check the connection string. So if you are using dbeaver or so, you can use JDBC, right? And here you can see all the required parameters for your JDBC string as well, right? Then you have server parameters. Click on that, it should start loading. You can enable, disable these parameters, and that will be applied immediately when you hit save. Right. Now what we are going to do is we are going to use Azure Data Studio to use this MariaDB instance, and then we will create data over there and then do some operations with that data. So make sure that you have Azure Data Studio. Now here can see I don't have any connection, right? So to establish that connection, I will have to use an extension called MySQL. Considering MariaDB is forked off MySQL, we will be needing this extension, right? And hopefully this should also work with our MariaDB, right? Once it is installed, we'll be able to use it as well, right? So go to new connection here. As you can see, the new connection. Now go to browse, then within saved connection we will have to find the Azure. Once these tools are installed, we can go and log into this particular connection, where it will kind of auto fetch all those details. Now let's refresh this so that it will find the instance for MariaDB. Now once you can see connection type MySQL is accepted here, we can check the server name. This is the server name we need to copy. Then we also have to use login name, so we'll go there. So here first we will paste the password, then we will use the username, right? So in my case it's Mahesh. Then server name, let's copy this. Okay, so let's see if it requires full username or just the name. Right now what we can do is we can now try and connect and see if that works. So invalid username. Okay, so it requires host name as well, so this should be the one that is copied. And now it is connected. As you can see, all the schemas available here. Now here you can try and expand if there are no databases, otherwise you can just refresh here and see what's available. So currently nothing is there, so we will go here and create new database. So here let's name this something like, let's say, sample database. I have plenty of CSV files which I can. So as you can see, I have a lot of CSV data and the data that I can use for this database. So I will just use that. Now the thing is, here you can notice that you can pick from that option. Simply create the database, right? Now once you create the database, next thing would be refreshing. Here you can see your available database. Currently we don't have any table or so here, so we will be running the query, right? So we can run create table and let's say add our various columns and their respective properties. What we can do, let's see, is ability to upload our data into that, right? So let's refresh this, and here let's take a look at why it takes a bit longer to connect to, right? So we already connected to sample, but we don't have anything in sample, right? So let's create something. Now let's take a look at how you can create the table. So let's take a look at create table, and let's name this table as employee, right? So we use employee, right? Now within this table what we can do is we will use ID as integer, right? Then we will use name as varchar 50 or 100, right? Make sure to use comma after such usage, then you can use city, which is marker as well, right? And then we can use phone, which is integer, right? And that should do. We don't need to add too much. So once we have all of that, use semicolon, and now I can run. So successfully completed. So we can do is we will run one more query, which is select all from employee, right? And if we select this and run this, we have our empty table, right? Now what we can do is, let's say I want to have insert query, right? So to do that, the best thing to do would be to think of variety of phone and city names, because that's what we wish to do here. So let's try that. Insert into employee, and here ID, name, city, phone, and then I can use values where you can see one, then we will add my name first, then comma, then city, right? And then finally phone, right? And then we will complete the query, right? And if I just run this, then command is successful. Now let's run select, and we have our first entry, right? So like this, let's add a few entries, right? And then we will just add a few numbers. I will have one more entry, so we have like two entries, right? And then okay, then we have like we can run, so we have like third entry, right? Now let's add the fourth, right? And then we can run that as well, and we have like another entry, right? So we have like four such rows here that we managed to access, right? So Azure Data Studio is a good option for you to work with your database that you created in MariaDB. You connected with MariaDB database there, and also managed to do all of the CRUD operation. So pretty much our workflow worked, and we managed to work with both Azure, then Azure Data Studio, and all of this on MariaDB server.